Some players have been playing good, some have been playing bad, and some have been playing ugly. What is up, San Antonio Spurs fans? Welcome to TSR Sports. We are halfway through the season, and I see Aaron Alamo did a report card on our Spurs player-by-player, and I thought, you know what? Let's do a live reaction to that. I like doing these, plus I tend to mess things up a lot and make a fool out of myself. Hopefully I won't do that today. In the interest of transparency, though, I do want to let you know, while getting this set up, I did see Wemby's grade and Vassell's grade, and I'm pretty sure I saw Zach Collins' grade, though we all knew that was going to be bad. I didn't see the little blurbs he wrote on why they gave those grades, so everything else will be new, but I wanted to put that out there, disclaimer, because, well, you know how I am. So anyway, let's get into it. Starting off first with Victor Wembanyama, an A-. Let's get into the reasoning first. While he has had some moments of inconsistency, Wemby has been playing mostly as advertised in his hyped sophomore season, showcasing his two-way ability and proving that he is already one of the best players in the league. Some may scoff at his uptick in three-point attempts, but check the numbers. His shooting percentages are all up from his rookie year. I would agree with an A-. I was thinking that too. If I was to grade these guys on my own, A- seems right. He's been a beast on the defensive end, leading the league in blocks again. I believe last I checked, he's around 4 per game, averaging over 24 points per game. But he's had some games here and there where he's really struggled with his shot. And yeah, some inconsistencies I would say has probably been the biggest thing. That, of course, has to do with defenses are doing to him this season, swarming and leaving other players open on the Spurs to take shots. But overall, at minimum an A-. I'd like to see his turnovers come down a little bit. But otherwise, yeah, I think he's met my expectations. He's improved in pretty much every area. Yeah, A- at minimum. This is an interesting one. Vassell, a C+. After missing time to begin the year due to injury, Vassell came out of the gate with some disappointing performances and more than a few rough shooting nights. He had a stretch, was that a 10-game stretch? Actually, when he became a starter, he was playing really poorly. Certainly hasn't been the strongest season for the fifth-year vet, but he slowly rounds into form. Vassell's reminding everyone that it is still too early to count out a score of his magnitude. So I'm going to grade on performance, but expectations too. I expected more. This is the highest paid Spur of all time. This was supposed to be Wemby's Robin. Yes, I know the injuries are there. I'm actually going to give him a C. I wouldn't give him a C+. I would actually drop it down to a C, and hopefully by year end it's improved to a B+. But right now, Devon's defense has also left a little bit to be desired, so I'm actually going to go with C. Chris Paul, they gave him a B. Not going to actually read on this one too much. He's a vet. We know what he brings to the team. I would agree. This is pretty much what I expected. Chris Paul, some nights he's going to score, some he's not. He's going to have a lot of nights where his assist-to-turnover ratio is fantastic, and he's going to have those odd games where he turns the ball over 4 or 5 times. And Chris Paul, at his age, I think he's doing a great job for us. I agree with a B. There's where the community might be split, I think, and this is one that I definitely want to read. Jeremy Sochan. While Jeremy Sochan, a B+, by the way, while the Sochan may not be the most complete player on the Spurs roster, his skill set is undoubtedly valuable. We have seen recently just how much San Antonio misses his contribution since he has been sidelined due to injury. Sochan brings a level of intensity that Spurs retain a defensive identity. For that, he earns a B+. And I will say, if you look at Jeremy Sochan's season, he usually is guarding the primary playmaker for the other team, whether it's a guard, forward, what have you. And we don't really have anybody else in the starting lineup that can do that. And by having him guard those positions, sometimes he's out of position to rebound or be helped defensive, whatever it may be. We really need another strong defender out there besides him and Wemby. Looking at Stephon Castle, maybe to be inserted in the starting lineup next year. Chris Paul has certainly done an admirable job considering his age. But Vassell's lackluster defense, or at times lackluster defense, he hasn't always been bad. He's been good, bad, and ugly for all intents and purposes. And Harrison Barnes' defense is what it is. Yeah, one more defender out there I think would certainly help. But a B+, yeah, I could be convinced B or B+ either way. He was showing a lot of improvement prior to his first injury. Then he had some good games after the first injury, but now he's dealing with a second injury, so I wouldn't be opposed to a B. But I don't think it's be less than a B, but I have a few out there going to say trade him. I'm sure if he were out there going to say trade the whole roster, trade everyone but Wemby. I know, I see it all the time. Harrison Barnes, this is another vet. Don't really want to go into this too much. I'd say B+. He's bringing what we expected, is he not? He's had some great games, and then he's disappeared for games on end, and he's even been a Western Conference Player of the Week. B+ seems pretty accurate. Julian Champagnie, A-. All right, this is a bit of surprise that he graded in this high. Why did he give Julian such a high grade. This season has been one where Julian Champagnie truly cemented himself as an important member of the squad going forward. His solid all-around play, including strong shooting performances and defensive impact, has made him one of the clear top impact players on the roster. Well, throwing his contract value, I believe he originally signed 4 years for $12 million, so only $3 million a year. He's on a very team-friendly contract. And Champagnie is one of the most important wings on their roster without question. I still don't really think he's a starter, though he did play with the starting lineup. Of, what was it? Castle, Paul, Champagnie, Barnes, and Wemby had a really good net plus-minus rating. So I don't know about an A- because he has had those games where I think there was a spot recently where he hit three-pointers in a row, then he missed his next 9, then he hit his next 3. He's very streaky off the bench. But that being said, I like, if we're talking about expectations, especially with Julian, I would say at least a B, probably B+. I don't know about an A-. Maybe I'm missing something. Don't forget, if you're new to the channel or don't realize this, because some folks don't, I do call every game live on this channel, and I certainly miss things that you guys see on the court because I'm watching the game, I'm doing the scoreboard, I'm doing the play clock, I'm talking to chat, and my eyes can only be in so many places at once. But I would say B+. Stephon Castle, they gave him an A. They gave Steph an A. Well. There's a ton to like about Castle's potential, and he has already showcased so much in just the first half of his rookie season. His shooting numbers will gradually improve for the youngster, and his athleticism and defensive ability are off the charts. Castle has just been about everything the Spurs could have hoped for thus far. Yeah, A-. Hard to argue. I'd like to see his shooting percentage go up from beyond the arc, but we knew coming into the season he was not a good three-point shooter. I'd like to see him do better with his free throw shooting. And his decision-making could be better when he's driving into the paint and there's 3 or 4 guys and there's a wall of other players there and he's still taking the shot and he's either missing or causing a turnover. Would like to see him improve on that. But we have to remember he's 20 years old and he's a rookie. Those mistakes are going to happen. So A-, definitely at least an A-. Oh, my Johnson. C for my Johnson. See my Johnson? All right, I'm done. It's been an interesting year for Keldon Johnson, and results have not been exactly what Spurs fans were hoping for. Coming off the bench all season, Johnson has struggled shooting the ball at times. His three-point shot has been absolutely disastrous, shooting sub 30% for this year, his worst season by far from 3. And he still turns things around, but seeing his scoring average decrease for a second consecutive season, I believe it's gone from about 21, 22 to 15 or 16 to 12 or 13-ish this year. Yeah, I think a C's fair. This has been one average Johnson. Yeah, I did it again. Sorry. The three-point shooting has been just an awful. His defense at times has been better to his credit, and his finishes at the rim. When he does get a dunk, he's not just dunking it. He's bringing down the house. He's bringing energy. I like Keldon, but overall, yeah, I think a C is fair for this year. Tre Jones. C, huh? With Chris Paul coming to town, Tre Jones moved to the bench, and his production has changed significantly. Oh my God, has it ever? After putting up at least 10 points per game for the last 2 seasons, Jones is down to just about 3.7 points per game in about 16 minutes. The minutes being lower has obviously affected him, but his offensive game has been frustrating to watch at times. This is a contract year for Tre Jones. Whether he stays with the Spurs or he goes somewhere else, this is where you have to have your career year so you can get paid, so to speak. He's not shooting the ball. I've said this before on the channel. I don't know if this is by design or if he's just choosing not to shoot. His assist-to-turnover ratio has been fantastic, but the absolute lack of scoring that's out there when he's on the court, he's out there just distributing the ball. There's no threats for him to shoot or score most of the time. I'm actually going to go C-. For this being your contract year, you got to put up or shut up, and I expected more. Not too far off. C-. And this last one, really? Zach Collins. Do we even need to talk about it? And I just saw the last sentence. Honestly, a D grade feels generous here. The dude lost his spot. You lost your spot. You're making, $16.5 million, set to make $18 million next year, and you've played so bad. You lost your spot. You're having a career worst year. This is an F-. At best, it's an F. But I'm going to give Zach Collins an F-. I can't believe they gave him a D. They were being... Usually, Air Almo doesn't hold back, but they held back on Zach Collins. Give him what he deserves. Give him an F. That's what it is. And move on. I hope he turns his season around. I really do, especially since we've invested so much time and money in him. But it's a failure on all counts. Let's talk about the team for a moment because they didn't grade the team. The team is 19-22 right now. They're on pace, if you just double it up because we're exactly halfway through the season, Spurs fans, for a 38-44 season. I predicted at the start of the season about 35 to 40 wins. A lot of you've had it in that range as well. So I would say they've met our expectations. Have they not? They're much better so far than those last two teams, or the last 2 years' teams of 22 and 60. It just stings currently because in 2025, the Spurs are 2-6, and they're blowing leads left and right, or they're getting blown out. And it's been a tough start for the calendar year of 2025. Spurs hopefully can turn things around in France. They play tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Central. It's an early game. It's in France against the Pacers. I'll be live at 2 p.m. Hopefully you can join me. I understand if you can't, whether you're working or whether you're at school or wherever, anywhere in between, we'll certainly be live for that. And in regards to this video, of course, drop a comment down below. Do you think I'm being too harsh with some of these grades? Do you agree with Air Alamos? Or are you totally just, are you in the category of Stefan Castle can't shoot, I'm giving him a D, trade him? Or Jeremy Sochan sucks, F, trade him. Or are you on the other end of the spectrum? Castle's been great, A, he's the future. Sochan, love him, A, Let me know. Very curious what your thoughts are on the team so far halfway through the season. Hit the thumbs up, like, support the channel, and subscribe to become part of our awesome Spurs community. I thank you, and as always, Spurs!
Go Spurs, go! 'Cause the Giants stay.